Okay, so today we're diving into some pretty deep stuff. We're tackling Søren Kierkegaard and his book, The Sickness Unto Death.
Ooh, Kierkegaard. Always a fun one.
Right. Published in 1849, but honestly, it's like he was writing for us today.
Totally. It's all about despair, but not just like feeling bummed out. He's talking about despair as a full-on spiritual condition.
A sickness, he actually calls it. But the thing is, he doesn't just leave us hanging with this diagnosis. He offers some potential cures, too.
That's what makes it so interesting. He's not just describing the problem. He's pointing towards a solution, a way out, which is hopeful, right?
Definitely. So let's start unpacking this whole despair as a sickness thing. What did he actually mean by that?
Well, for Kierkegaard, despair isn't just a passing feeling. It's this fundamental misalignment of the self.
Misalignment.
Yeah, like a disconnect between who we truly are at our core and how we're actually living our lives. It's about being out of sync with our true nature.
Okay, so to get this, we need to understand what Kierkegaard even meant by the self, right?
Right. And he had some pretty unique ideas about that. He saw the self as this dynamic interplay between what he called the infinite eternal and the finite temporal.
Whoa, hold on. Infinite finite. Can you break that down a bit?
Sure. Think of it this way. Your everyday life, your worries, your job, your bills, your desires, all that stuff, that's your finite self. It's bound by time, by circumstances.
Makes sense.
But Kierkegaard also believed there's this other part of us, the infinite part, that yearns for something bigger, something beyond ourselves. It's that part of us that wants meaning, purpose, connection to something greater.
So we're juggling these two sides, the grounded and the transcendent.
Exactly. And despair comes in when these two aspects get out of whack.
Out of whack how?
Well, imagine someone who's totally focused on success, on achieving more, making more money. They might seem happy on the surface, but underneath there's this emptiness because they've lost touch with that deeper, infinite part of themselves.
They're living only in the finite.
Exactly. And that's one way despair can manifest. Another way is through what Kierkegaard calls despair in defiance.
Despair in defiance. What's that all about?
This is where someone knows they're in despair, but they're rebelling against it, or even against, like, the idea of God or a higher power.
So they're aware of the problem, but they're choosing to stay stuck.
Yeah, it's kind of a self-sabotaging thing. They might be clinging to their pride, refusing to accept their limitations, or maybe they're yearning for something they can never have, and that despair just consumes them.
Sounds pretty intense. So we've got these two types of despair, in ignorance and in defiance. But regardless of which type we're talking about, Kierkegaard actually offers a way out, right?
Right, and this is where his idea of the leap of faith comes in.
Ah, the leap of faith.
Yeah.
But it's not about blind faith, is it?
No, definitely not. Kierkegaard wasn't talking about just blindly accepting dogma. He saw it as a conscious decision, a passionate commitment to something beyond ourselves, even when we don't have all the answers.
So it's about trusting in something bigger than ourselves.
Exactly. For Kierkegaard, this leap of faith meant connecting with the divine, with God. But it's not just about adopting a specific set of beliefs or rituals.
So it's more than just going to church every Sunday.
Way more. It's about this deep internal shift, a willingness to let go of our ego, to surrender to a reality that's bigger than our own limited understanding.
Surrender can be tough, though, especially when we're so used to being in control.
It is tough. But for Kierkegaard, that surrender, that connection with the divine, is what allows us to heal the split within ourselves, to bring those finite and infinite parts back into harmony.
So it's about finding wholeness, becoming our true selves, even if it means letting go of some of that control we cling to.
Exactly. And, you know, even if someone doesn't believe in God in a traditional sense, this idea of a leap of faith can still resonate. Well, it's about committing to something beyond just our individual selves. Maybe it's a cause we believe in, a community we feel connected to, or some creative pursuit that really lights us up. It's that willingness to step outside of our comfort zone, to embrace something bigger than ourselves.
So even though Kierkegaard was writing from a religious perspective, there's a broader message here that's relevant to everyone.
Definitely. He's ultimately challenging us to confront our own despair, to understand where it's coming from, and to actively seek out a path towards healing and self-realization. It's about asking ourselves those tough questions. What am I truly committed to? What gives my life meaning and purpose?
Powerful stuff. And really, isn't that what we're all searching for? That sense of purpose, of meaning, of wholeness?
I think so. It's that yearning for something beyond the everyday, beyond the finite. And maybe, just maybe, that's where we start to find the answers we're looking for.
And on that note, we leave you with this. If despair is a symptom of being out of touch with our true selves, how can we better understand what those true selves actually are? How do we bridge that gap between our finite and infinite selves to find that sense of wholeness that Kierkegaard talks about? Something to think about, maybe even lose a little sleep over. Until next time.